Okay. Hey, I'm with one of my daughters, Talene, and we were just reminiscing about her memories about growing up in Hartford, Connecticut, and going to school in Hartford, Connecticut. And mind you, and she really didn't know this, her school, her grade school, kindergarten through fifth grade, was 70% children of color.
Well, that I knew. I'm not blind.
Okay, great. And you just thought it was normal, though, right?
Yeah, it was normal.
Yeah. And they were mostly poverty in that school. And just the happy memories she has of going to school there. So, Talene, why don't you take off on this?
Okay. Yeah, Dad wanted me to do this video, and I don't usually do things that Dad asked me to do. So, everyone get ready. I'm doing it. Yeah, I went to Eleanor B. Kennelly School in Hartford, Connecticut. It was public school in the city. I had the best teachers ever, a really cool group of kids that I went to school with. And for me, it was a completely normal way to grow up. But I'm hearing now from Dad and from other people that I guess it wasn't completely normal for a white kid to go to school with mostly black kids. But I had a great time. I don't know what you want to know.
Well, why don't you talk about Miss Williams? And you had great teachers.
I did have
kindergarten,
great
first
teacher.
grade, but
yeah,
you could talk all day. Why don't you just talk about Miss Williams, second grade?
Okay, my second grade teacher, Miss Gloria Williams, was the just kindest, gentlest teacher I've ever had. I was a really shy kid, and she succeeded in getting me to talk in class. And she's the first teacher who was able to do that. She and all the teachers at Kennelly, Miss Simpson, Mrs. Durkin, Miss Calhoun, everybody, those teachers worked with no pencils for the kids, not enough paper for the kids, not enough books for the kids. And we kids didn't know the difference. We just thought that was normal, and the teachers made it work. So in that way, she was also amazing. She would bring guest speakers to come to our class a lot. I don't know how she convinced people to come speak to second graders.
By the way, and I'm going to tell you, Miss Williams is African American.
Yeah, she's also that. So she got these guest speakers to come in and talk to us. And one of them was her pastor from her church. And he was really cool. It was really fun to listen to. And he told us all about the civil rights movement in the 1960s and his part in it, and Martin Luther King Jr. and just what had gone on back then and up until, what was that, I guess, the late 80s when I was in second grade. And then what needed to happen with civil rights going forward. And he was really fun to listen to. And I'm learning now that that is also odd to learn about that stuff.
Oh, you only did it in February, right?
No, it was all the time.
Only in eighth grade.
No.
Every grade. All they be talking about Martin Luther King. The teachers, the black teachers, and the civil rights.
It made sense. And that's part of our American history. So yeah, Dad's talking about it like it's some weird thing, but I don't think it is, because all of my teachers in elementary school talked about civil rights, talked about Martin Luther King Jr., talked about Black history, but not just in February. It was whenever. And
you had a privileged education in that way. You really did.
So.
It was different. I'm so happy we did that with you. The experiment kid.
Couldn't afford private school.
That's true. We couldn't afford not to live in Hartford. Oh, by the way, I just remembered this. Talene was always jealous of the Hispanic kids on January 6th.
We got to go to a parade.
Yeah, there was no school either.
Right. Well, there's no school. What
parade was it?
Because all the Hispanic kids, which I guess you would now call Latino, they had a big parade for Three Kings Day, January 6th. And we didn't go to school as Armenians because it's Christmas. But I didn't get to go to the parade ever.
You had to go to church.
I had to go to church.
Poor Talene. Hey, what white privilege do you remember? Now, you didn't know white privilege back then as a kid. You were just a happy camper.
No, wait, can I just mention Miss Simpson? Because I think she might be watching this.
Oh, Miss Simpson was awesome. Go ahead.
Miss Simpson was awesome. I had her in third grade, and she was the coolest teacher. She's the funniest teacher, and she was really concerned about our individual learning, not just our learning as a class, even though we must have 35 or 40 kids in there. And she always paid special attention to each one of us. So thank you, Miss Simpson. And also Miss Calhoun. Now, I guess this video is just for my old teachers.
And she taught you about the Native Americans.
Oh,
Miss
yeah.
Calhoun. Yeah.
There's a lot about that from Miss Calhoun. And I appreciate that too. She didn't stick to the history books that were written. She taught us actual history.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
wasn't whitewashed
No.
as the history books were back then. You got the real story. You're lucky. A piece on white privilege in retrospect. 10 years later, you would look back. What was different about us, though? So you were going to inner city school, but say a little bit more about our white privilege.
Well, I didn't know this at the time, obviously, but I found out later that redlining was still happening in Hartford when Mom and Dad bought their house.
Which means redlining, Caucasians could buy in certain neighborhoods, blacks could not.
And also, Mom and Dad, didn't have any money. Mom wasn't working and Dad's a priest and he was like a new priest. So, but he got a loan from the bank anyway and they were allowed to buy wherever they wanted. So instead of living right in the middle of the city where there's a lot of crime, we got to live in a fairly decent neighborhood.
Yeah. So that was it. Hey, how about just give them a little bit when you moved to Racine, Wisconsin, where the children of color in the schools, it was 50%.
I still don't believe that's 50%.
It was.
Because, I was used to being in Hartford where, like we said, most of the kids are Black or Hispanic or immigrants. And we got to Racine, and my first day of school, I came home. I said, where are we? Because everyone was white. I don't believe it was 50%.
No, for 3 days you said kids were missing.
I don't remember that.
3 days, she said, and I was about to call the principal up. What do you mean the kids are? She said lots of kids were missing. And finally, the fourth day, when she came home with this, I said, Talene, what are you talking about? What kids were missing? And you said the Hispanic kids and the Black kids, they didn't seem to be there.
I don't remember saying that, but
it was only 50% minority.
I totally believe it because I remember it felt really weird.
This is a 13-year-old.
Well, 13 years of
good upbringing. Good upbringing.
I mean, Racine is fine. It's not saying anything about it. My teachers there were fantastic too. It was just different. And coming from a place where I was one of the only white kids, hair is a really sensitive topic for a lot of African Americans. I was so jealous of my friends' hair because
in elementary school.
In elementary school, because they all had just the most beautiful braids, and at the end of each braid was this really pretty, colorful barrette. And I was so jealous, and I really wanted my hair to be like that.
What did you ask Mom?
I asked Mom if she could do my hair like that, and Mom said, "No, your hair won't do that." Obviously, but I was, stuff like that. It's just, yeah. And then later, when we moved, it was just different. Not bad, but different.
So tell me the outcome of all of this. Where was the outcome of all this now? Looking back, how do you feel now about your inner self? You had said before it makes you happy.
Yeah. And I hear people my age, when they're white people saying that they went to school with only other white kids and that they were in kind of a bubble, or Black people saying they went to school with only Black kids and they were in a bubble. It makes me really happy that I got to go to school with people of all different colors. I had an Armenian bubble on the weekends, but there weren't enough of us to make it so strong. So when I was in school, I didn't have a bubble like that. I got to learn to interact with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, people who speak English differently. And I think that's really helped me as an adult to speak with different people. Yeah,
good life. Thanks,
you. Dad.
Okay, and my only editorial comment on all of this is, look, things haven't changed that much. Instead of running away from our city schools, I believe we should be running toward our city schools and making them stronger places, because our kids don't know any better. They just go to school and they get pretty good teachers, and it all works out. We're one race, the human race. We're different colors. Yeah, we're not blind, but we're one race, the human race. Well, good to talk to you, Talene.
Yes.
This is fun. Okay, we're going to...
Bye. Yes.
What do you mean? Yeah, sure.